When you're a member of the ministry, you've got one of the most difficult tax returns the tax professionals see in America. Hi, Bob Jennings here. I'm going to try to summarize many of the issues that we have to worry about when we're doing a tax return for a member of the ministry. When I'm talking about a member of the ministry, let's get a couple of things out of the way. We are generally talking about an individual who is either licensed or ordained and who is performing ministerial duties. Okay, with that out of the way, how should that minister get paid? This is one of the most common mistakes I see as a practicing CPA in America. The minister, if they are paid correctly, should receive a W-2 from the church. Not a 1099, nothing else, there should be a W-2. But it's the most unique W-2 in America because all it should have on it is the amount of wages that the minister earned. There should be nothing withheld for Social Security or Medicare. There may be federal income tax withheld if you as a minister have asked the church to do it, but by default, nothing should be on there unless you've requested it to be withheld. If the church has held Social Security or Medicare out, the church has made a mistake. You need to talk to your tax professional for more information on clearing that up, but the church has made a mistake. Okay, so you receive a W-2, you are going to pay tax on it, but you have not yet paid Social Security. The next element of a minister's tax return is the housing allowance or parsonage allowance. Whether you receive a cash payment or you live in a home provided by your church, the value of that house, that apartment that is provided to you either in cash allowance or in a place to live is free of income tax as long as it has been established by a church body in advance in writing in the year before that you actually receive the benefit. So for example, in 2009, by the end of 2008 or the first meeting in 2009, a church finance committee should have said, Reverend Smith will be given $2,000 a month as a housing allowance for the remainder of this year. So point one is W-2, point two is the housing allowance. Again, you do not have to pay income tax on the housing allowance. There are some pretty tight rules on this, but you need to leave most of those for your tax professional. The third point on ministers is many ministers, if not all ministers, receive some form of outside clergy income. We're talking about baptism, funerals, weddings, bar mitzvahs, whatever they may be. When a minister is compensated for his or her services doing those outside activities, they have to be filled out a special sole proprietor form, Schedule C. As you can see already, this is a very difficult tax return to prepare. Okay. So we have a W-2, taxable, no Social Security. We have housing allowance, non-taxable. I haven't addressed Social Security. And we have the non-W-2 income that is taxable. So let's talk about income for Social Security purposes. When a minister is calculating his or her income for Social Security purposes, they add together three things: the W-2, the housing allowance, and the Schedule C sole proprietor income. And then the minister subtracts out his or her expenses. Now, we've not talked about those expenses. When a minister incurs expenses, they go generally in two places on a tax return, although in some cases they can go three. A minister's expenses are fully deductible against self-employment income. What's self-employment income? That's housing, W-2, plus your outside clergy income added together. You deduct all of your expenses against that. You deduct a portion of your expenses as an itemized deduction following a special rule called the Deason rule. Now, as you can see, this is a very difficult return to do. I even write a small book regarding clergy taxation that you can see on our website at taxspeaker.com. But for most of your clergy guidance, you need to be calling us, please, at our phone number that you see at the bottom of the screen or visiting our website. I hope that's at least given you a reasonable introduction to taxation on one of the most difficult returns in America. Bob Jennings, thanking you again for listening.